The biggest thing is you just got to just keep going. Roll with the flow. Check yourself. Who are you being in the present moment? Because everything that you want exists right now. I mean, there's no really past is a set of memories. The future isn't here yet. All that exists is a present moment. So once you can master your present moment focus and awareness, then you're going to be unstoppable with anything that you do. And a lot of times, I'm telling you, I'm just driving down the street. I'm in the shower. I'm brushing my teeth. And just like a bolt of lightning is like, that's how we're going to write their story. And so far, 41 issues later, it's been, oh my gosh, the journey of a lifetime.
What's going on, everybody? Kyle Powers here, Haven Real Estate Group at eXp Realty, here with another episode of Local Legends of the Flint Hills, where business meets community. I've got a very special guest here with me, Tyler Jackson, dear friend. He is with Manhattan City Lifestyle. Tyler, thanks so much for joining me, man.
Well, Kyle, my friend, thank you so much for having me.
You got it, brother. You got it. So, dude, let's just kind of jump into it, right? We were talking off camera. You're about to hit 41 issues. So 41 months you've been doing this thing. So it's been a minute, right? So what inspired you to really start this venture and get into magazine and what that start with me there?
All right. Well, I feel it's kind of a divine plan. It has been. Like, I'll take it from the top.
Sure,
so I'm originally
please.
from Dodge City, Kansas.
Yeah.
I moved to Manhattan in 2006. I was 21 years and 3 months old, and I was just kind of flailing in Dodge. So my mom's like, "You need to get the heck out of Dodge," literally. And so,
no pun intended.
No pun intended, but pun very much intended. So I came to Manhattan. I had $100 to my name. I didn't know anybody. Yeah. I didn't really have any direction in my life, and I just showed up in this town in February of 2006. From there, I was working at Sherwin-Williams, the paint company, and then ended up, gosh, I had just such a long path that eventually led me to the radio.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be on the radio. I heard an ad on the air on B1047 saying that they needed a DJ. And so I emailed the program director in the summer of 2007, and I never heard back from her. So just being persistent, I emailed her once a month, every month for an entire year. And then July of 2008, they hired me to do the overnights.
Okay.
So I did overnights for 3 years while doing a million different other jobs. And in July of 2011, July 5th, 2011, Tyler and Megan, the morning show, was born.
That's awesome.
And that was really the biggest hallmark, coolest thing I'd ever done into Manhattan up until this point.
Yeah.
But while I was still working other jobs, I was doing the morning show. And then in January of 2015, I started doing ad sales.
Yeah.
Radio ad sales, literally selling air. But that was like my first real dive into marketing.
Right.
And so I was able to kind of get my teeth cut on what the market looks like around here as far as marketing wise, what business owners need, getting personal relationships built with business owners. And then after a little while, got kind of burnt out, double dipping, doing on air. I mean, those were 12-hour days every day. And so I took a job with Nielsen TV ratings. It was a fun adventure. Went to 13 different states, knocking on doors, trying to talk people into putting a Nielsen box on their TV that measures what they watch. And then, like everybody else, COVID happened. I was out of the field for an entire year. I completely changed in that entire year. My thoughts, my priorities, my wants. I was fine, having a Manhattan address, but going and exploring the world all the time. I've always wanted to come back to Manhattan. I never left Manhattan. A lot of people thought I moved, but I never moved from Manhattan. So I came back to Manhattan. I didn't want to leave. And a year later, I went back out in the field with Nielsen TV ratings, and I was just kind of miserable in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy that I went to high school with. He was one of those K-State friends that was here whenever I came up. And he called me on Cinco de Mayo 2021 just to check up on me. And I asked him, I said, "What are you doing for that publication company again?" He's like, "Oh, I'm national sales director." Or whatever his title was. He's had a million of them. Yeah. We sell franchises for people to have a magazine for the area they live in. As magazine publishers, you're in charge of editors, writers, photographers. You put it all together. You sell all the ads at your business. And I was like, dude, that's literally everything I've ever done my entire life.
Yeah.
So going back to high school, I was the editor of the high school newspaper. I worked for the Dodge City Daily Globe right after high school. I was in the state fair for photography. I love writing. I sold ads. And I'd get trained on it. So it was just literally a little bit of everything I'd ever done in my entire life. So that's why I was like, this has got to be a divine interaction.
Yeah.
Has to be, because it was a hodgepodge of everything I'd ever done. And so I did the logical thing. I got offered the keys to the franchise. I cashed out on my 401ks, which this is not legal advice. I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Give that disclaimer.
Yeah, given the disclaimer on that. Took a loan out from my sister, quit my job. Everybody on the planet thought I was insane, really basically except for my sister and myself. I just believed in myself so much with it because I could see Bill Snyder on the cover of the very first one.
Yeah.
And I went on an adventure and went and raised the proper funds in the next 5 months. And then in February 2022, we had the very first issue of Manhattan City Lifestyle magazine drop with Bill Snyder on the cover with the man in Manhattan. And I'll never forget, just to throw a point in there, I did my first interview for the magazine, my first photo shoot, trying to figure all this stuff out with Bill Snyder. Yeah. Standing in a suite at Bill Snyder Family Stadium, in a stadium that's named after him. And I'll never forget, and it's resonated with me every day since, and it keeps reminding me every day of why I'm still doing what I'm doing. But we looked over the perch, and I asked him, I said, 30 years ago when you moved here from Iowa, could you have ever imagined what this stadium would look like? And he looked at me dead in the eyes and he said, it was the plan. No emotion on his face, no expression. It was the plan. And so that validated me in my heart, knowing that this was my plan of having this magazine. I was going to talk about Manhattan. I'm going to figure it out along the way. I don't know exactly what it looks like. You have to be kind of detached from the how and the when sometimes with those types of things, with anything that you want. But the desire is in my heart, and any desire that's in my heart came from the good Lord. So that means there's a version of me out there that already has it. Yep. So I took kind of a long way to get here. I've been Manhattan built since I was 21 years old. I'm 40 now, and that's kind of how I started Manhattan City Lifestyle magazine.
No, I love that. I love that. And there's always any entrepreneur. I mean, you're going to take that leap of faith. I mean, you're going to take that leap of believing in yourself and believing in what you're doing and believing in that stuff. We all do it. We all go through it, right? I mean, I'm 10 years of being in this business, and it's a wild thing to understand that, right? But so I love that you believed in yourself and that you had the support around you, because so many entrepreneurs out there don't have that out there. And so they're either one doing it themselves or they're two failing and moving on to something different. So, well, this is a good transition though. So let's talk about what you have. So you told us how you got here. Let's talk about your mission with Manhattan City Lifestyle. What is your mission? If you boil it down to your core, what are you looking to do with this magazine?
So I've got 3 things. For starters, it's all about the reader. Does the reader care about this? Right. Any story that we come up with, any advertiser basically, any ad, does the reader care about this? Because the reader's our first tenant. So the reader itself, we love introducing the reader to all the tales of Manhattan and brand new businesses. Right. So new businesses that they either don't know about, or an introduction, a reintroduction to businesses that they already know about. Right. So it's always about the reader. And then we've got the advertising client. So the advertising client, we love introducing them to a brand new audience of 60,000 readers per month. It could be also existing clients that get to be reintroduced back to them. And then our third tenet is business owners to business owners. So I love taking care of the reader, the client, and the business owners, because one of my favorite things to do in Manhattan, absolutely, is networking and connecting people. So at the end of the day, to wrap all that up, the magazine is about connecting people throughout Manhattan to Manhattan and reminding them why Manhattan's the greatest city on the planet.
Love it. I love it. Love that. How do you decide what stories you're putting in the magazine, what you're going with? Obviously, Bill Snyder, you knew that one from the get because he's Mr. Manhattan, right? That's an easy one. So that's a layup. So what are you doing every month? How do you decide what stories you're going to put in the magazine?
So when it comes to K-State, that's always a big question I get. The balance of K-State. What's the balance of K-State versus Manhattan? So when people outside of Manhattan, Kansas think of Manhattan, Kansas, 90% of those thoughts are K-State, 10% the town of. So with the magazine itself, with the respects of, K-State being a large presence, being 50% of its landowner, basically, sure. I look at basically 10% K-State stories, 90% what's going on in Manhattan. So there's the K-State question. But one cool thing about City Lifestyle, the parent company that I'm a part of, they're catalyst. I mean, they're everything for me. Is each issue is themed. So, say for example, January is the health and wellness issue. They're all super broad themes, but January is the health and wellness issue. February is love local. March is the home issue. April is the investment issue. Then you have the men's and women's issue for Mother's Day, Father's Day, May and June. July you have the explore issue. August is kids and pets. September's historically in the magazine world has always been the style issue, so that we still stick with the style issue in September, the food issue in October, thankful in November, holidays and giving for December. And so with the theme, having the respect of the theme, I kind of play off that. So I know February of 2023 was Love Local. Well, we had a story on R.C. McGraw and Nick Powers. And then also I had Aaliyah Carter for the All-American volleyball player from K-State.
Nice.
So there's my little K-State touch-up. And then that article on R.C. McGraw ended up becoming the most popular story we've ever done. And I was driving down the road thinking, how can I write a story on R.C. McGraw's? We can just talk about all the stuff that they have. They have a lot of events. You can go play pool there. You can hang out on the patio out back. They have great food. They've got event space. They've got a lot of things that they offer. But it's like, what's a good niche? Well, R.C. McGraw's was founded in 2000. It's pretty cool that they've always had this old caricature. I think they may have gotten away from it now, but you can still see the caricature of like the Yosemite Sam type cowboy character. Yeah. And I was just driving down the road and I was like, that's it. We're going to do a tall tale on the history of R.C. McGraw. Like, who was R.C. McGraw? And so we came up with this wild tall tale of, he had a shootout against Buckshot Bill in the showdown on Morrow Street, and once he was this old gunslinger, rootin' tootin' gunslinger. Whenever his shooting days were done, he decided to hang up, and he started to he was a camp cook, and then eventually opens up his own restaurant. And people from Kansas and Nebraska came from miles away to have his legendary cooking, and then that's how R.C. McGraw's came about. So there's just like one example of one story that we did, and every month we always try to spin it as far as, okay, everybody knows that you're, for example, like your story, we did an article on you. We know that you're the best realtor in town. You're a fascinating person under a lot of different fronts, but what direction do we want to go with on this? So for you, we did a Q&A centering you as the voice of authority as far as real estate in Manhattan, Kansas. Yeah. So you can even look at it like that. It's like, okay, we can cut the pie a couple of different ways, but in respect to the theme. So every month we stick within the theme, but then there within that theme, each article itself, it's like, okay, we can do a QA for this one, put them as the center of authority, answer the deep down questions like Rob Wild from American Family Insurance. Yep. Life insurance. Who wants to, I don't know. How are you going to write a story on life insurance? Yeah. I mean, seriously. But listening to Rob explain it is pretty fascinating. So I was like, dude, let's do a Q&A with this. And we had good Q&A questions as far as something that'd be relevant. Again, always going back to the reader as far as, is this relevant to something I want to read about? Am I going to learn something from this? Am I going to be entertained? Because really, at the end of the day, those are the reasons why you pick up the magazine itself. And so we made it as like relevant, good, and then a couple lighthearted Rob Wild style questions at the back of it. So it's all about just kind of coming up with the best way to cut the pie. And there's a million different ways to skin the cat, which is a terrible statement, but it's true. And a lot of times, I'm telling you, I'm just driving down the street, I'm in the shower, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm hiking on my favorite trail, and just like a bolt of lightning is like, that's how we're gonna write their story. And so far, 41 issues later, it's been, oh my gosh, the journey of a lifetime.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's the way it works, right? I mean, you're sitting there and you're not thinking about it, and then boom, it's there. So I love that. All right, well, I'm curious. You may not want to answer and I don't want you to say my article, of course, but do you have a favorite story or a favorite article or a favorite something throughout the magazine for your 41 issues that you've done? Do you have a favorite that you really enjoy or want to bring up?
No, man.
And can't say all of them.
Yeah, all of them have been my babies. I will say every time I get a new box of magazines on my porch, I'm like, this is literally the best issue. I've had people tell me all the time, it's like, well, you said last month's was the best issue. I'm like, well, no, but I'm telling you, but this one right here is the best issue.
This one's new.
Yeah. I just looking back, November of 2022, in that same issue, as we see a picture of Jerome Tang, he was K-State's brand new men's basketball coach. That one I actually got to write this, like I wrote a full story on who he was type thing, and that was pretty cool getting to connect with him. But right there in that same article was a story on Alan Clark. So Alan Clark Body Shop. Yeah. And the thing about Alan Clark is I had never met him. He'd already passed away. Yeah. So the story was actually through his widow on behalf of Good Shepherd Home Care and Hospice, kind of talking about his end of days. It was a build up to kind of who he was as a person, the legacy that he left behind, like the business that he built on Clark Body Shop. But the story was kind of focused on his final days in hospice. Yeah. And then kind of seeing it through the eyes of his widow. Yeah. And it was that one, off the top of my head, that one popped up to the surface because that was pretty special. And still to this day, his wife still sends me a Christmas card every year.
That's awesome.
And when I see her around, it's big hugs. Like, it was really, we connected. It was very special. Outside of that, getting to write a story on Gene Taylor from K-State.
Yeah.
7-page story. You know, I've done a story on Will Howard. I know a little of the K-State stuff, but we're all Wildcats, right? So it's hard not to nerd out on it. So writing a long story on the background of Will Howard was awesome. Writing a complete story on Gene Taylor was awesome. Aaliyah Carter, Aoka Lee. Those were a few of the K-Staters. I think there's a few others. Otherwise, I wrote back in January a story called The Power of I Am.
Yeah.
I read a book, and this is, I can get deeply philosophical with this stuff, which I'll kind of spare you the details. Yeah, January 2025, if you want to read The Power of I Am. But I read a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy, and it kind of turned into just where I was in the wintertime. And I wrote a story on the power of I am. Anything you attach after I am, you are. And every day I say, like, I am living the greatest day of my life.
Yeah.
I'm the greatest steward of the magazine possible. I'm the greatest to ever do it with everything I ever do.
Yeah.
And so that was a pretty special article. But honestly, now that I speak it out loud, every issue so far, that's why I can always tell you exactly what was in each issue from every month, because every issue so far has been a reflection of either my soul overall or what my thoughts and feelings were that particular month.
Yeah.
And so coming up with content has been astonishingly easy. The hardest part has been deciphering and going through and discerning and filtering out what we actually want to write about that month.
Yeah, I believe that.
But I will say, thankfully, we have Google Sheets, spreadsheets, and so I have it all the way, I think until beginning of 2027 now.
Yeah, that's
if
fantastic.
Anybody gives me an idea about any story whatsoever, which I'm always open ears as far as giving me an idea for a story to write about, I have it all the way to
I'm always in for a follow-up. No.
yeah, we do need to do that. We need to do one like Kyle Powers, the wakeboarder, surfboarder. That would be a fun one. That actually would be a fun one.
That would be fun.
Wouldn't be too bad. That'd be a good little summertime article. But I have a spreadsheet, and so somebody gives me an article idea. I have an overall, just general one, but then each month I have it laid out with respects to the themes. And if there's like, let's write one on this dentist, I'm like, I can consider that for January next year, perhaps.
Yeah.
And
or you push it, and then
we push it for the next year. But
that's great.
Again, it always, what does the reader care about the most?
Yeah.
That's always takes precedent, and then the advertising client, then other businesses around town, and then myself and my staff.
Love it. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, we're just rolling along this one here, so I'm actually going to ask it this way. So, advertisers have been a big piece of your success, right? And I know that you feel very deeply and very how do I say this, indebted to them, I guess, maybe, in that sense of it. So, two things. Number one, what would you like to say to your advertisers? And then number two is, if someone watching this video wants to get involved or wants to get advertisement in the magazine or whatever, what does that look like, and how do they get into that?
Yeah. Dude, I'm forever indebted. The magazine's free. So we have a digital copy, citylifestyle.com/Manhattan. You can go online. You can read the whole entire issue for free. All the articles are broken down by each article that we've ever had. You got all the pictures on there, all the stuff. And so we have the digital copy, but in respect to that, we have as you can see, we have a legitimate print magazine. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's a lot of inflation these days, and there's just costs keep rising. And so I know that I just heard that postage is going up in July 2025 again. And so that'll be, overall, like my 5th price increase since we started.
Yeah.
So it went from, all right, we might have a price increase coming up to where it's like almost a price increase coming. Sure. That's guaranteed. And so every issue keeps going up, and every issue that we print, it's $8,500 a month. It's box after box after box after box after box is 100% made possible by advertisers. Yeah. We don't have, there's no subscriptions. There's no anything outside of being 100% advertiser supported. So if it wasn't for the advertisers, this whole thing wouldn't go. I'm never worried about being rich. I don't, that doesn't matter to me.
Right.
My biggest focus is making sure that the magazine can stay in print and that the advertisers feel like they get something out of this.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. 41 issues later, I've gotten pretty smart about actually what I call the print method. There's different ways that you can change your message up to where it becomes relevant to the reader, and you kind of, it's the best way for you to cut the pie. Again, I have a million different ways we can go about doing that, but print's pretty effective. I mean, any type of marketing, you can just ask anybody. Any type of marketing, doesn't matter if you're doing Facebook, if you're doing billboards, if you're doing radio or TV, if you're doing a magazine, if you're doing a direct mailer. You got to look after three things. You got to look after your frequency, your audience, and your message. Yeah. So your frequency, like with this magazine, works great because it comes out once a month. I mean, once a month, every month. I mean, it hits people's mailboxes direct to them. There's 22 different print categories, and a luxury high-end direct mailed magazine is top of the list. Once a month, hit your mailbox for free. And the more that it comes out, the more repetition that comes out, the more people recognize the brand of it and look forward to it.
Expect it too.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. I get people saying, I haven't got my magazine yet. I was like, hold on, it's the second of the month. It's the second of the month. Just give it time, and then it's big before you know it. It's like, oh, my husband brought it in. I didn't see it, sorry. So you got your frequency. Then you have to look for your audience. Like, what's your audience that you're going to try to captivate? For us, it's 35 to 64-year-old females that are mostly married, and it's 66% female, 83% married, 35 to 64 is the money demographic. Yeah. Which, in a lot of advertisers, that's kind of what you always want to go for.
Right.
And then it boils down to what's your message. Like, all right, let's do it a couple different ways. So I call it the print method. 1 month, just do a general branding ad. Next month, do a testimonial. Go on Google and get an actual 5-star Google review. Next month after that, you can do a staff profile. Name how long they've been with you in one paragraph what they love about your business. And then the next month, do a specific product. Say, here we offer, sewage draining. We offer, cookies. We offer whatever it is. And then just rotate that in and out. You have your frequency audience, and then there's your message. And then by the time the person wants the business or whatever you offer, it's just ingrained in them that that's our person for it. Yeah. It's just kind of subconscious marketing, basically, is what it is. And so
it's any marketing.
It really is. And so even if you're doing Facebook, not to knock on radio, but the thing is, like radio, you have the audience, because a lot of people still listen to radio. You can make an awesome radio commercial. Like, what's Pizza Shuttle's phone number?
776-5577.
Exactly. The thing there is, it gets expensive is the frequency on it. Yeah. So you just have to kind of find the balance on all that stuff. And that's where I believe that Manhattan City Lifestyle Magazine is the greatest marketing in Manhattan. The greatest marketing medium is because we kind of hit all three of them pretty well, especially when it's done correctly.
Right.
And so if you want to get in touch with it, if you want to do an ad, hit me up, email me, tyler.jackson@citylifestyle.com. You can go to our website again, citylifestyle.com/Manhattan. Click on the contact us and fill out the little form, and it comes to my email. Same way, either way.
Perfect.
Yeah, or you can find my phone number online too. So
awesome. 41 issues in, 3.5 years later, right? Number one, I'm curious to see if you ever imagined that you'd be here at this point in time, 3.5 years later. Number two is, what does 42 and beyond look like, and what's the future look like for the magazine?
It was the plan, Kyle.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I'm going to see 100 issues.
Yeah.
I'd love for my kids to see 1,000, right? Yeah. I have no doubt. I don't doubt any of it.
Yeah.
I haven't doubted any of it since the very beginning of it. So the future is going to be bright for a while. I've got some incredible clients that stay on board with me. I try to do as much as I can for them as much as possible.
Yeah.
At least check their pulse. See, where you at with this? You enjoying this? You have any feedback for me? You tired of me? Like, are you tired of us? Are you happy? And everybody has been pretty happy. Like, good. There's been some attrition because that's always just kind of the name of the game. But outside of that, in the very beginning, I had 150 businesses I talked to.
Yeah.
150 businesses I went to in the very beginning, and 127 of them told me no. But 23 of them told me yes.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of those 23 are still with me, and I've built on top of that. So that's just the advertising client base, which is the most important because it pays for it, right?
Sure.
And I'm sure we're going to have some more price increases coming up down the future because it's just how the world's been going lately. And so that, from the advertising client standpoint, sitting pretty good. From the magazine point itself, just keep getting bigger, getting more in depth, add page count. That's another big thing that we just keep adding pages to it and keep making my subscriber list even bigger than it had been, and just keep having fun with it. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, every day I wake up, the first thing I do when I wake up, I say, today's the greatest day of my life. I look in the mirror and I tell myself 10 times, I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, Tyler Jackson. I'm so proud of you. You're the greatest to ever do it. God, I cannot wait to see what miracles you have in store for me today. And then I go out and I have a gratitude journal. I write down every day. And I usually always write down saying, I'm grateful for another day. I'm grateful for good rest. I'm grateful for my dog and my cat. And I'm grateful to be the steward of this magazine.
Yeah.
And when you live with gratitude and you're genuinely happy and you just, believe in yourself with everything that you do, my gosh, you can't fail.
Yeah.
Sometimes my focus gets off a little bit. I'll admit that. That's where I need to just remind myself, okay, who am I being right now? Because the state of being is always king. You can hope and wish as much as you want to, but it always boils down to what your feelings are and who am I being right now? It's like, am I being the greatest magazine publisher of all time? So I check myself constantly throughout the day to make sure I stay in check. So it starts with me, and then it goes into the clients, and then it goes into the readers, and it just goes into just believing in the mission and keep on rolling. My editor's been with me since day one, and my photographer's been with me since day one.
Yeah.
So I've had an incredible staff that's believed in me. It's helped me believe in myself, and then just keep rolling with it. So I will see 100 issues. I will see 1,000 issues.
Good for you.
But also the future, I didn't predict having. I never predicted being able to do a morning show. I never predicted having this magazine. So what the future lies for me, gosh, I don't know, but it's gonna be great.
Love it. I love that, man. Good answer. So, okay, so this is one, before we kind of wrap it up here, one question I always love to ask entrepreneurs is, what if you had one thing, you're 3.5 years in the business now, if you had one thing to give advice to somebody struggling, somebody getting ready to start their entrepreneurial journey, what is one piece of advice that you would give to that person?
Just, again, goes back to, it's a mindset thing. So the first year was a learning curve for us on this. Even getting the damn thing started took me like 7 months.
Sure.
There's so many times in that I was like, I don't think it's going to work. Even getting handed the franchise and finding funding for that.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, I told my sister, I was like, I don't think this is going to work. She's like, are you kidding me? This is made for you.
Yeah.
You just cash it, clear out your bank account, take a job bartending at Mojo's in Aggieville, clear out your 401ks, invest in yourself. This is a better return of investment than that could be. Yeah. Again, not offering legal advice. And she said, here's the rest of the money that you need for it. Because I had that picture and that vision in my head.
Yeah.
And so it took me 3 months to just even get the franchise. And then another 7 months to launch the magazine. The first year was all about learning how to even do it. Maintaining, doing sales, and keeping clients happy while figuring out this article, figuring out this photo shoot. Like, gosh, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do the women's issue? How are we going to do the men's issue? So the first year was figuring it out. Second year was pretty fun. Still learning curve, feeling pretty comfortable. And then between the third and fourth year, there was a few moments of, like, I started to kind of waver within myself. It's like, I have a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
This is pretty wild. Like, it was kind of the slump, like your junior season slump. You could be all state hitter your freshman and sophomore year. Then junior year, it's like kind of like even Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
He was an all-star. He would go on those slumps every once in a while, but then it's just you got to find your groove again and keep going. And so you got to avoid the valley of disappointment, as they call it. Just keep rolling. Never stop believing in yourself, and then just look at the big picture.
Yeah.
Realize that, thankfully into the fourth year, I've gotten into some deep philosophical stuff that's mindset stuff that I've really been able to coach myself on. And just the biggest thing is you just got to just keep going. Roll with the flow. Check yourself. Who are you being in the present moment? Because everything that you want exists right now.
Yeah.
There's no really past is a set of memories. The future isn't here yet. All that exists is a present moment. So once you can master your present moment focus and awareness, then you're going to be unstoppable with anything that you do. And so best advice I have for people is just keep going. It's a monthly magazine.
Yeah.
We saw the start. What's the perpetuity of it?
Right.
The Manhattan Mercury is 111 years old this year.
Yeah.
They put out a weekly, or I don't even know how many runs they do. I think it's three days a week these days. It used to be a daily newspaper. I'm sure there was some times back in those early publication days, it's like, okay, we got to just keep rolling with it.
Right.
And so the magazine it really is a good way to hallmark it, as we say it out loud right now, that every month is going to be another month that's going to keep on rolling. It's, what have you done for me lately type thing.
Right.
But you can't have that mentality. You have to look at the big picture, but also just stay present in the moment, present and focus on the moment. I mean, that's kind of the best advice I'd give anybody. Just stay present, focusing on the moment, and it's going to be yours. So.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and it's so true though. Many times over, like the fact of just keep going. I mean, I think that's the big thing that I've heard from doing a lot of these videos, a lot of these interviews. I think that's one of the common themes that I hear is that keep going, believe in yourself, and eventually you'll get through it. Mm-hmm. So, well, I guess before we kind of wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to add before we kind of finish everything up?
I just have to say, you're a realtor, right?
Yeah, I am.
To take on a video series like this and do a really good job with it, you're a great guy. And so Kyle Powers you become, gosh, I've known you forever now.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Become a tremendously good friend. You're one person I can walk into and see you there. Just like we had that meeting we had that City of Manhattan meeting the other day, and I walked in, it's like, oh, Kyle Powers is here. What's up?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And so you're a pretty good dude, and so I really appreciate you personally for doing this.
Yeah.
And then also outside of that, I truly believe Manhattan, Kansas is the greatest city in the world. You can ask anybody from Bill Snyder to Coach Tang to Tyler Cates, the assistant garden store manager at Blueville Nursery, what makes Manhattan special, and everybody will always tell you it's the people. Yeah. We have it so good here. You can make it as big as you want, small as you want, but it can be yours however you want it. And that's why I love Manhattan.
Yeah.
I truly do.
So true. So true. So, well, I appreciate you guys watching this video up to this point. I really do. And again, Tyler, thank you so much for joining me today, man. I appreciate it. And I'm excited to get this one out and kind of show people the man behind the magazine. So you've done so many articles on everybody else. I wanted to get in here and kind of show people of who you are, what you stand for, and what everything is here. Because I love what you're doing here, man. I love what you're doing and highlighting local businesses and local people. I mean, I love it. It's fantastic. So. But thank you guys so much for watching this video to this point. I really do appreciate it. Keep watching for the other videos. If you do enjoy this content, please go and hit that subscribe button. Go and hit that little bell so you get notified of any future videos that we have coming up, because there will be a lot more. And then please, if you know somebody who's thinking about advertising or just looking into the magazine or something, number one, just do the easy one. Share this video with them. Show them who Tyler is, what he stands for, and what this magazine stands for. And then number two, have them reach out, okay? I can tell you from experience, I've been with Tyler in the advertising space on his magazine. I love it. I love the love that he gives into this magazine and pours into the people that he's with when he does all this stuff. So I would highly recommend reaching out to Tyler, reach out to his team, get in this magazine and advertise or just find it, right? Go find it online. Go find it on, because it should be coming mailing as well. So, but it truly is a free magazine to the public. And so come support Tyler, come support his team. I would love to have you guys get into there. And into his sphere of influence when it comes there, because he would love on you as much as he has everybody else. So, Tyler, again, thank you, man, for joining me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.